Giving AI open access to your folders using tools like Claude Cowork is probably less useful and more risky than it sounds. Now, I can definitely see some specific applications where you've got a lot of different input context and you want to generate a lot of different files as an output. For example, the start of the project, you want it to go through your project folder and update all your new templates. But the idea that you would then do this on a live project and give it access to hundreds of different documents and artifacts, and even worse than Claude Cowork would be using something like OpenClaw, where it can read and write to all your files and potentially go rogue, I think is just a terrible idea. It changes one number on a document without you having realized, and that has some cascading impact. Like, there's really quite painful situations I could see you landing in if you're just relying on tools like Cowork to basically read and write to all your files in a live document. Not to mention information security risk. For example, if you have people's private information, it's breaching a lot of confidence by then just uploading these to tools like Claude. So I think a better way to use AI is, rather than just generic use cases and giving it access to all your data and sort of coming up with use cases on the fly, I think you should always reverse engineer the workflow that you want to apply it to. For example, if you're using AI to do procurement, there's defined inputs to that task, there's defined context, there's a defined workflow, and there's a defined output. You just need to quite carefully think through what is the information it needs to do the task, what is the minimum amount of access you can give it, and then what is the output format. For example, say I want to set up a workflow or an automation where Claude monitors my email inbox for any important correspondence, it stores it in an Excel register, and then it checks if I've missed anything important. That is a very contained workflow. It needs access to my email and it needs access to one specific spreadsheet that it writes the data to. It doesn't need open access to all my files. I think always open access using tools like Claude Cowork is generally pretty bad and probably something you're going to run into problems doing eventually, and those problems will probably be much worse than a lot of the time you saved by just copying in and out context as you need it. But again, always the way to counter this is to simply think through the workflow you want to apply it to and just give it contained access to specific information.